Speak English with fluency. Repeat, speak, succeed. What shadowing does? You start speaking, not just understanding. It expands your vocabulary. It helps reduce your accent. It boosts your confidence. It helps you sound more natural, like a native speaker. Shadowing practice. Visit to Gynecologist. Level beginner pre-intermediate. Round 1. Repeat after narrator. You may pause each slide and repeat it as many times as needed until you achieve perfection.
Hi, Anna. It's nice to see you again. Come on in and have a seat.
Repeat.
Hi, doctor. Thanks. I'm here for my yearly checkup.
Repeat.
Great. Is there anything that's been bothering you lately?
Yes, I've noticed some unusual vaginal discharge for about 2 weeks.
Can you tell me more about it? Has the color or smell changed?
Yes, the discharge is thicker than usual and it has a different smell.
Have you had any itching or burning?
Yes, I've had some itching, especially in the evening.
Have you had any pain when you urinate or during sex?
I sometimes have mild pain during sex, but not when I pee.
Have you noticed any vaginal bleeding between your periods?
No, I haven't had any unusual bleeding.
Have your periods been regular?
Not really. I think my hormones are changing because my periods come and go.
Hormone changes can affect your cycle and cause different symptoms.
That's what I was wondering about.
Are you taking birth control or any hormone medication?
No, I stopped taking birth control a few years ago.
Based on your symptoms, you could have a yeast infection.
I was wondering about that. Is a yeast infection serious?
Usually not. It can often be treated with medication.
That's good to hear.
We'll also check for sexually transmitted diseases, or STDs, just to rule them out.
That sounds like a good idea. I'd rather make sure everything is okay.
Before we begin the exam, I'll check your breasts.
I haven't noticed any lumps or other changes.
Everything feels normal. Now let's move on to the vaginal exam.
I always get a little nervous before a vaginal exam.
That's completely normal. I'll explain everything as we go along.
Thank you. That helps me calm down.
I'm going to insert the speculum so I can see your cervix.
I feel a little pressure, but I'm okay.
Your cervix looks healthy. Now I'm taking a pap smear.
Does the smear also check for infections?
The pap smear checks for abnormal cells. We'll take another sample to test for infections.
Will that include checking for an STD and a yeast infection?
Yes, we'll send the samples to the lab for testing.
How long will it take to get the results back?
Usually about 1 week. We'll call you as soon as the results come in. Now I'm checking your uterus, ovaries, and tubes.
Everything feels okay. I don't have any sharp pain.
That's good. Everything feels normal, but I'd still like to follow up if your symptoms don't clear up.
I'll keep an eye on the discharge and the itching and let you know if anything changes.
Perfect. Take care of yourself and don't put off your yearly checkups. We'll be in touch with your results.
This is the end of the first round. Before moving on to round 2, we recommend going back to round 1 and repeating it one more time. Round 2. Repeat with narrator.
Hi, Anna. It's nice to see you again. Come on in and have a seat.
Hi, doctor. Thanks. I'm here for my yearly checkup.
Great. Is there anything that's been bothering you lately?
Yes. I've noticed some unusual vaginal discharge for about 2 weeks.
Can you tell me more about it? Has the color or smell changed?
Yes. The discharge is thicker than usual, and it has a different smell.
Have you had any itching or burning?
Yes, I've had some itching, especially in the evening.
Have you had any pain when you urinate or during sex?
I sometimes have mild pain during sex, but not when I pee.
Have you noticed any vaginal bleeding between your periods?
No, I haven't had any unusual bleeding.
Have your periods been regular?
Not really. I think my hormones are changing because my periods come and go.
Hormone changes can affect your cycle and cause different symptoms.
That's what I was wondering about.
Are you taking birth control or any hormone medication?
No, I stopped taking birth control a few years ago.
Based on your symptoms, you could have a yeast infection.
I was wondering about that. Is a yeast infection serious?
Usually not. It can often be treated with medication.
That's good to hear.
We'll also check for sexually transmitted diseases or STDs just to rule them out.
That sounds like a good idea. I'd rather make sure everything is okay.
Before we begin the exam, I'll check your breasts.
I haven't noticed any lumps or other changes.
Everything feels normal. Now let's move on to the vaginal exam.
I always get a little nervous before a vaginal exam.
That's completely normal. I'll explain everything as we go along.
Thank you. That helps me calm down.
I'm going to insert the speculum so I can see your cervix.
I feel a little pressure, but I'm okay.
Your cervix looks healthy. Now I'm taking a pap smear.
Does the smear also check for infections?
The pap smear checks for abnormal cells. We'll take another sample to test for infections.
Will that include checking for an STD and a yeast infection?
Yes, we'll send the samples to the lab for testing.
How long will it take to get the results back?
Usually about 1 week. We'll call you as soon as the results come in. Now I'm checking your uterus, ovaries, and tubes.
Everything feels okay. I don't have any sharp pain.
That's good. Everything feels normal, but I'd still like to follow up if your symptoms don't clear up.
I'll keep an eye on the discharge and the itching and let you know if anything changes.
Perfect. Take care of yourself and don't put off your yearly checkups. We'll be in touch with your results.
New words and phrases.
Come on in. Please enter. Yearly checkup. A routine medical examination every year. What's been bothering you? What health problem have you been having? Vaginal discharge. Fluid that comes out of the vagina. Smell. The way something smells. An odor. Thicker than usual, less watery, more dense than normal. Itching, the feeling that makes you want to scratch. Burning, a hot, stinging feeling. Urinate or pee, to pass urine. Urinate, formal. Pee, informal. Mild pain, pain that is not very strong. Vaginal bleeding between periods, bleeding from the vagina at a time other than your period. Unusual bleeding, bleeding that is not normal or expected. Periods, monthly bleeding from the uterus. Regular, happening at the same time or in the same way every time. Come and go. To happen sometimes, and then stop. Hormones, chemicals in the body that control many changes and functions. Cycle, the regular pattern of changes in your body. For example, monthly cycle. Birth control, medicine or devices used to prevent pregnancy. Stopped taking, no longer using or having something. Yeast infection. An infection caused by yeast that can cause itching, redness, or unusual discharge. treated with medication, helped or cured using medicine. Sexually transmitted disease, STDs, infections that are spread through sexual contact. Rule out to find out that something is not the course of a problem. Lumps, small, hard areas of bumps under the skin. Breasts, the parts of the body that produce milk after childbirth. Vaginal exam, a checkup to examine the vagina, cervix, and uterus. Get nervous, worried, or anxious. As we go along, doing something step by step and explaining while it happens. Calm down to become less nervous or more relaxed. Speculum, a medical tool used by the doctor to open the vagina and look at the cervix. Cervix, the lower narrow part of the uterus at the top of the vagina. Pressure, a feeling of push or squeezing, not usually pain. Pap smear, a test to check the cervix for abnormal cells. Abnormal cells, cells that do not look normal and could be a sign of a problem. Infections, germs or diseases that can affect your body. STD, sexually transmitted disease. Infections passed from one person to another through sexual contact. Samples, small amounts of fluid or cells taken from the body for testing. Uterus, the organ where a baby grows during pregnancy. Ovaries, small organs on each side of the uterus that produce eggs and hormones. Tubes, fallopian tubes, the tubes that connect the ovaries to the uterus. Follow up. Check again later or continue to monitor how you are doing. Keep an eye on, watch carefully, and pay attention to any changes. Put off, delay, or postpone something, like a checkup. Be in touch to communicate or contact someone.
That is all for today. Please like and subscribe for Shadow Me channel.